All right, so where does this go on? I found some silly little graphics here. Photosynthesis typically occurs in cells within leaves that we call the mesophyll. All right, so the mesophyll has got a couple of different layers. It's got what we call the palisade mesophyll. That's the cells kind of right at the surface that's getting struck by the sun. They're also spongy mesophyll. And photosynthesis basically takes place in this layer, but especially these that are right here on the top surface. Now, there are these cells down here called stomata on the bottom of leaves typically, and they can control the air, the gases in and out. So as we mentioned, CO2 has to come into these plants. That's where the carbon for these sugars comes from, and they're going to emit oxygen as a byproduct, as a waste product out of the reaction. So the stomata are these two cells or a pair of cells in the bottom of the leaf that these cells can contract or expand. All right, and they can basically either close or open to allow gas into the cell. So they've cut away the cross section of the stomata here, and they're saying this is airspace. There's a pocket within this leaf where gas can accumulate and can exchange carbon dioxide and oxygen back and forth. And so just kind of a general graphic here. Water's going to come in, general leaf structure. Water's going to come in through kind of the stem that's going to come up from the roots, and it's going to flow throughout. Carbon dioxide comes in through one of the stomatas here and into a chloroplast within one of the mesophyll cells. Light energy is going to strike that, excite the chlorophyll within the chloroplast. We're going to talk about the process of how photosynthesis works probably next time. Not going to get to that today, I don't think. But again, sunlight's going to excite some pigment chlorophyll molecules in here, and that those excited molecules then can transfer that energy to other mechanisms that eventually stores that into a more complex molecule like sugar. Okay. All right. What else we got here? So within those mesophylls, so if I zoom in right here to one of these mesophyll cells, right? And I say, well, if we just look at these cells contain chloroplasts. So we've mentioned chloroplasts when we talked about the structure of eukaryotic cells. And we said plant cells, we've got a cell wall, and they've got a central vacuole, and they've got chloroplasts. These are structures that we would find typically in plant cells that we don't see in animal cells. Chloroplasts are structures in plant cells where photosynthesis actually takes place. So within the mesophyll cells, you've got these green chloroplasts. Right? It's kind of a nice diagram I found on Britannica of a nice, well-labeled chloroplast. We're going to talk probably more next time about the structure of the chloroplast and how it works. But it's kind of like the reverse of a mitochondria, honestly. We're going to see that in the process. And if you read ahead, and I would go ahead and read ahead in chapter 8 this evening or tomorrow, and that way you're ready for Wednesday. So when I talk about it, it sinks in. The goal here, if you haven't already figured this out, the goal here is I'm going to talk about things in lecture. You're reading them in the textbook. You have available to you all these cool videos out on the internet now. You just Google search photosynthesis reactions, and you're probably going to find really, I know I've found very quickly, nice videos just on YouTube, well-sourced people doing exactly what I'm doing, putting together lectures for their courses or funded by other entities like National Science Foundation, putting together good videos. So you guys have access. The more times you see this, the more likely your brain is to grab onto it and say, oh, this is important. We're kind of tricking your brain to think it's important and try to remember it. So all that to say, read your text. After you watch these videos, read your text, read through all, make sure you've read 7, read through 8, and we're going to talk next time. I got one more video I think in us here. Not going to be very long, but we'll talk next time about structure of the chloroplast, what's going on, and a little bit about photosynthesis cycle. Okay. All right, I'm going to stop this one. We'll finish up one more video, and I don't think it's going to be very long.